New entries into a series like Zelda that has such a legendary history are always going to have trouble competing with their forebears. Musically, as well as otherwise, these older entries are giants, and there are so many groundbreaking, generation-defining pieces of music from the past games that any music written for a modern Zelda is going to get swept away in comparison. So, when a new piece manages to make its way into the Zelda music canon, being remembered and talked about more than 5 years after its game's release, you know you have something truly special on your hands. Mipha's theme from Breath of the Wild is one of the highlights of a fantastic soundtrack, worthy of standing shoulder to shoulder with the likes of the Lost Woods or Great Sea themes in the Temple of Timeless Zelda music, and today I want to break down what makes it so special. The melody doesn't do anything fancy. Like all great Zelda music, it presents a solid idea with a clarity and ease that make it seem inevitable. But the whole thing is decorated with these colorful, modern piano arrangement techniques of the sort that define the sound of Breath of the Wild's musical identity. Let's break it down. We start with these open chords high up on the piano, an F major 9 chord moving to a B flat major 13. The F chord is a stack of fifths coming up from the root to the 9th, and then another fifth built from the chords 3rd and 7th placed on top. These big open fifth chords are a core part of Breath of the Wild's sound. The B flat chord is a colorful voicing commonly used by jazz pianists. The 7th, 9th, 3rd, and 13th are all placed in a stack on top of the root. Rolling up beautiful chords like these high up on the piano is one of those things that just always works for me. These chords are repeated an octave lower, and then we move from this B flat chord into 2 chords that help us pivot into the tune's home key of A minor. We slide up from B flat to this G add 2 over B voicing, which smoothly leads to this E7 flat 9 flat 13 chord. This is the 5 chord setting up our A minor melody. The bass motion, going from 2-5-1, gives us a strong feeling of resolution as we come out of the key of F major and into the key of A minor, and adding the flat 9th and flat 13th to that E7 chord is the perfect way to signal the upcoming minor chord resolution. So, why start in the key of F major if the piece is in A minor? The mood of the intro doesn't really match the mood of the melody, does it? Well, starting with these beautiful major chords and then taking a darker turn into the A minor theme is a great way to express the sense of loss that we associate with Mipha as a character. Like the other champions, Mipha was killed in the great calamity that occurred 100 years prior to the events of the game, but unlike the other champions, Mipha was clearly in love with Link. She sewed him a wedding swimsuit and everything. Concerned with coming off as too clingy, Link always plays it cool, so it's not clear whether Mipha's feelings were reciprocated or not. But getting rocketed forward 100 years and then coming back to Zora's domain to find that the fish girl that was sweet on you is long dead must have been a bitter moment for Link either way. The main theme beautifully captures this sense of loss, this emptiness, with its simple main motif, a step back and forth from E to F. A similar feeling is evoked by Chopin's famous E minor prelude, whose melody similarly sticks to the 5th of the key, decorated with quick steps up to the flat 6th. Here's an Easter egg for you. In solfege syllables, the notes E and F would be mi and fa, meaning Mipha's theme is literally mi-fa. I stole this observation from Samantha Ballard, who's a fantastic harpist with a VGM cover channel. Go check it out. Anyways, the melody builds phrases out of this repeated Mipha motif, moving into closing phrases that follow your classic question and answer structure. But like Chopin's E minor prelude, the real magic of the piece lies in how this melody is harmonized. We start with a held A minor chord, and the root descends chromatically from A to G sharp to G to F sharp to F underneath. This kind of movement is a bit cliché.
Hey! No stairway. Denied.
But it's a perfect match for the static melody. Each repetition of this simple motif is given a slightly different color by the changing bass notes. The complete lack of motion in the melody, mixed with the changing colors of the harmony, gives the sense of feelings buried beneath the surface, of our hero keeping a straight face in spite of his dawning realization that the people he used to care about are really long gone. That continuation from the F major 7 up to a B flat 7 chord is the first of many tasty harmonic moves we'll see throughout the piece. It's a jump of a fourth from this F chord, which sounds like a natural move, but this B flat chord is the flat 2 of the key, and making it a dominant chord technically includes both the flat 2 and flat 1 scale degrees in the key of A minor. That's the kind of surprise, raunchy chord that invokes serious stank face, no matter who you are. This B flat 13 slides into the 5 chord to end the phrase, with this E to F over E to E flourish being a detail you'll want to remember for later. The 5 chord sets up a repetition of this phrase, but the repetition features a very different harmonization. We start off on the flat 6 chord this time, F major 7, instead of the expected A minor, and then we move to an F diminished 7, which brings us down to a secondary 2-5, E minor 7 to A7. This kind of turnaround is very common in Japanese music in a major key. In this case, it would be C major, as a way of taking a colorful detour out from the 4 chord and coming back to a 2-5-1 at the end. Every living Japanese composer is familiar with this progression, I'm sure, but inserting it into a minor key like this, the relative key of A minor, where this would normally be used in C major, makes it feel really fresh. Rather than this A7 chord dropping us off at a D minor to set up a return home, we get a striking move to an F7 chord. This is a super unusual maneuver, but look at how perfectly the voice leading gets us there. The E notes on the top and bottom of the voicing move up and down by a half step respectively to get us to the root and flat 7th of the following F7. The A note stays the same, and the C sharp slides down by a half step to land on the C natural. It's unusual for sure, but it's really smooth and it totally works, delivering yet another bona fide stank face moment. This F7 starts off a common minor key cadence from the flat 6 to the 5 to resolve to the 1 chord. Only that's not what happens at all. The flat 6 chord moves down to a minor 5 chord, E minor 7, and then, when the melody gives us a clear final resolution to the tonic A, the harmony continues its downward trajectory to get to a bright D major chord. This piece keeps shifting back and forth between grief and moments of calm. This surprise D chord, borrowed from the key of A major, brightens up the music considerably in a spot where we'd expect a solemn minor resolution. Mixing these lighter moments into the minor key makes this piece so much more impactful. It's more than just a sad song. It's capturing the bittersweetness of fondly remembering someone you've lost. This feeling continues on in the following section, a short 7-bar bridge that brings back our flat 2 chord as part of a flat 2-to-1 resolution. This is another very cool, very modern sound, building a beautiful major voicing on top of a dissonant out-of-key root note. There's a cognitive dissonance to this B-flat chord, with pretty major 7ths and 9ths and 13ths and bright sharp 11ths all layered on top of the flat 2nd of the key. And resolving to an A minor chord with a B natural in it only makes that B flat chord feel more intrusive. The beauty of the B flat major chord is undercut by its function as the flat 2, and as each of these chords is answered by a resolution to A minor, we feel that even the fond memories of one who's gone end up becoming painful for our hero to think about. The melody for this bridge section builds off of the second halves of the first melodic phrases, which is a smart and easy development technique. The final melodic resolution from the initial melody appears again here, but this time it starts a phrase that showcases another sick modern harmonization. F major 7 to G over F to A over E to F over E flat to D add 2 to E7 flat 13. This progression is the climax of the arrangement's series of harmonic surprises, but once again it's the slick voice leading that ties these twists and turns together. The right-hand piano chords walk down smoothly by step, the top note of each voicing settling gently down from E to D to C sharp. Borrowing the major third in a minor key is a super modern move and could very easily sound out of place if the voice leading didn't make it feel so natural. From this A major over E, we see the voice leading once again bring us smoothly from A to F7. The C sharp and E move down by half step and the A natural stays the same. This E flat note continues down to a D, and the F note on top drops down by a half step to land on the second of this D add 2 chord, another chord borrowed from A major, before we settle onto an E7 chord to set up a return to the tonic. Adding the flat 13th to this E7 chord once again signals a resolution to our minor tonic, that we're at the end of all this major key borrowing, and it's time to be solemn again. All the chromatic wandering around makes it feel so satisfying when we get dropped back on our home chord. We return to the A section to close out the piece, but with one added detail that I absolutely love. The E to F over E to E that closed out our first phrase earlier is changed ever so slightly to an E to F over E flat to E. The original version of this bar felt dramatic, but this E-flat bass note takes that to another level, injecting the bar with a Ganondorfian color. This whole arrangement is such a great showcase for how important it is to surprise your listener. These unexpected details are really what makes the whole piece for me. After the melody once again ends on a surprise D major chord, we get this last little phrase to close out the piece. We are winding down here with a repeat of the last 2 bars of melody down an octave, but with a much softer harmonization. B flat major 9 moving to C major 13, resolving to F major 13, and then ending on one final G6-9 chord. It goes without saying how colorful these last few chords are, with the upper extensions laid on so thick, and sandwiching these major second crunches in the middle of each voicing sounds absolutely gorgeous. This last F to G sets up a resolution to A minor, or maybe even A major. If this were Ocarina of Time, I bet Koji Kondo would hit us with an A major at the end here. but we never actually get the satisfaction of resolving back to the tonic chord. Instead, leaving us hanging on this colorful major G6-9, the flat 7 of the key leaves us with an expectant and hopeful feeling. Mipha's story was cut short, and there's an obvious sense of loss that we get from the music, but hearing this, one has to think that Link has accepted her death and will honor her memory by using what she left behind to save Hyrule. Just isolating the melody, we get something simple and sweet, but all the adventurous modern piano harmonizations imbue it with so much more color and meaning. The surprising turns along the way tell a real story, and altogether elevate the composition to something worthy of standing with some of the best Zelda music out there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.